Okay, I want to talk to you now about two ancient items. Both that I have here are replicas, but the first one I want to talk about is called a Sumerian Star Chart. The ancient Sumerians observed the skies and charted the skies. And we see that when God put the stars in the heavens and the moon and the sun, that they were to be for days and seasons. But they would observe the stars, and the nights, of course, being very dark, they could see more stars than we can today with the light pollution that we have in the skies. This reproduction, the original had some areas that were damaged here, that were missing. But they had a very good account of the stars in our night sky. What's interesting about this were two astronomers looked at this and discovered that on here they found it is recorded of an ancient meteorite sighting, and it believed that the meteor landed in Australia, and they wrote a book about that. But what's also interesting is because those in the East, the wise men, they observed the skies. In Isaiah chapter 39, actually in verse 30, in chapter 38, he is sick, and as a sign from God that he will get well, he asked that the sundial of Ahaz go back 10 degrees. When you get to chapter 39, verse 1, Merodach-Baladan, the king of Babylon, sends him letters saying, we heard you were sick and they want to come. And so he allows them to come and shows them everything there. How did they know that he had been sick? I suspect because they watched the sky so carefully that they had evidence that the sun had gone backwards 10 degrees. Again, we see the Magi that come from the east when Jesus is born, and they had seen his star as something different in the sky. So there we see that they had knowledge, and very precise knowledge, of what you could see with the naked eye. Now, another object that I would like to show you is an object that was discovered around the ancient ziggurat of Ur. And the archaeologist that discovered this was Woolsey. And it was made of Lapis Stone, and I made a reproduction of it. The original is at the British Museum. But as you see here, there is a scene on this side, and there is a scene on the other side. And here we see, leading upwards, a scene of a battle. And one thing I'd like to note is how primitive the harnesses are on the horses. And if you look at the wheels, that they are just two pieces of wood cut and then made into a circle, and then you can see where they are bound together. There is the battle scene, and then we see the larger figure here, the king. And look at the ancient clothing that is very primitive. And recall that Abraham moved from this area, Ur, to where God told him to go, to the promised land. Now, on the other side, and this is called the Royal Standard of Ur, and it dates back to Abraham's time period. This is called the peace side. And we see here them bringing the spoils of war back in a banquet at the top row, and the king seated, and their skirts, which are either leather or grass type skirts that we see there. Very interesting. And as we think about that, now there's one other image here that I want to bring to your attention, just as a point of reference. This image here is found in other art in this area. And it's interesting, as we note here, because there is a man, and then over here there is a young boy, and then there is what appears to be a ram or antelope, and it is either rearing up or caught in a bush there. and we can see that there are some type of objects in their hands. And Abraham being from this area, and then having rescued the kings of Sodom and Lot from the kings of the east that came and took them captive, they would have had knowledge of Abraham in that time period. So this is a very interesting thing, although there's no proof that is Abraham and Isaac. It is interesting there to notate. Thank you.